Yeah, so over the weekend, obviously, I'm sure you're aware, it was the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship between Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. Now, looking at it slightly differently to most people, first of all, obviously, I'm aware it's all gladiators, it's all pantomime and circus, it's all distractions from the bigger deals that are going on in the world, the bigger problems we've got going on in the country. I mean, at the same time as how would I describe them? Not the brightest kind of people that would be down there talking along the lines of white British people here, supporting Daniel Dubois, which is something that I'll come to in a minute. There was also riots or people protesting against an Invader hotel not far away over at Epping along the M25 going east. You know, you've got people really fighting for our future down at Epping. I'm not saying I condone, obviously, the events that took place there, but I can certainly understand the frustrations now because we've got a political establishment and provably a police force that's working against our interests now as a demographic. You know, they're bringing in potentially what could, like I've often commented on, these people could be soldiers ready for the next attempt at a 2020 style lockdown. You never know. Why else would they bring all these young fighting age men and place them in locations all across the country and be so secretive and hostile towards anyone wanting to find out what's going on? So there's that, obviously. But to get to the point with the two contenders, congratulations, of course, to Alexander Usyk, and I would also say congratulations to Daniel Dubois. Nothing against either of these people, but at the same time, look at the ethnicities, really. So you think Alexander Usyk is clearly Slavic, Eastern European. You can see in his ethnic makeup who he is, what he is. Obviously, he's clearly a Ukrainian, he's clearly Eastern European, he's clearly Slavic. Daniel Dubois, Western European. So Western Europeans must have gone through some enormous transformation over the last 80 years to suddenly become Afro-Caribbean. You know, a quick bit of research on his ancestry. His parents moved over from the Caribbean. Obviously, people in the Caribbean would have been transported there once upon a time during the slave trade, admittedly. So he's Afro-Caribbean, and that's the end of it. When you really get... So it was just ridiculous watching this guy who's of Afro-Caribbean descent standing there with the British national anthem under the Union flag. Bear in mind, obviously, there would have been a time where Britain was involved in the slave trade, as we constantly get reminded of. So you need to make your mind up. Are you responsible for the slave trade as well? Or is that just the other demographic which has been made up, which is white British? So this is the thing now, you've got all these different... being British now is anything. You can be white British, black British, mixed British, Chinese British, Pakistani British, Iranian British, on and on. You know, I think someone could land from Mars and be called Martian British the way it's gone. So for me, looking at the contenders side by side, it's just utterly ludicrous to think someone can look at both of these people and without cracking a smile say these are both Europeans. One's Western European, he's British, and the other's Eastern European, Ukrainian. And obviously Derek Chisora, not long afterwards, you know, he said to Usyk in the changing rooms, you know, can you stop beating up the Brits? Well, I mean, I'm not, I mean, all of these people could beat the hell out of me and probably kill me, you know, with their bare fists. I'm not debating that for a second. This isn't anything against them as people or as athletes. It's just kind of trying to get to the facts, basically. So, I mean, Derek Chisora is Afro-Caribbean as well. This is a bit of a funny one because he really does see himself as fully British. He fully embraces it, and fair enough, you know. But then again, he doesn't particularly like the white British population, I don't think, when you get down to it, when you scratch the surface. So, yeah, I think ultimately it just brings up a few questions about, well, what exactly is being British anymore? You know what I mean? And what, I suppose you could argue the way it's going, what do these people actually think being a Western European is? Is it just a passport? Is it just something you call yourself? You know, because the same thing is happening in France, Ireland, Spain, Germany, Belgium, Holland, Sweden, Norway. It's all Western Europe, Italy, you know, all these Western European countries. And we're a warning, really, to Eastern Europe, how not to go. You know, it's quite strange to think 80 years ago, Eastern Europe would have been an area where they were going through extremely rough times because of communism, and then weirdly they've become more of a safe haven now, and Western Europe is headed down into sort of like a cultural Marxist cesspit, should I call it. So yeah, some points, and I think I don't think anyone else would have brought these points up. But to me, it just really brought it home when you've got what is essentially a black guy and a white guy, and one's being called Western European and one's being called Eastern European. It wasn't so long ago you had Tyson Fury, who is British, because he's from this area, he's Celtic, he's Irish-British, versus Usyk, and that really was Western Europe versus Eastern Europe, really. You could look at that and think, yeah, that's right. So I'll leave them thoughts with you. And before people start crying racist, at no stage have I said anything that's hateful towards any demographic or anything like that. It's just asking a few questions. I tell you what, leave a comment. I don't normally ask, but if you want to challenge me, you explain to me what you think being Western European is, and how you can, in your mental gymnastics world, say that an African is a Western European and a European is an Eastern European. I don't really get where you're coming from. One final person I will bring up actually was Lennox Lewis. So he, people were saying Daniel Dubois, if he wins that fight, will be the latest Brit, the first Brit in 25 years to become an undisputed heavyweight champion. Well, Lennox Lewis, changed nationalities like changing sweaters, in a changing rooms. He was Jamaican to begin with, then Canadian, then British. Same thing can be said with Mo Farah. Somalian, came here illegally, suddenly he's English, can't even speak English. Amir Khan, Pakistani, suddenly he's boxing for England and Britain. Anthony Joshua, he's Nigerian. And as he's even said in interviews since, now he's got all his fame and fortune and his loyalties go back to Nigeria. He's even said, as an African, he knows where he's from. He's got a big tattoo of Africa on his arm. So, if they're saying that really brings up some questions why we've got all these people from around the world representing Britain. And you don't go on about the empire, because the empire's pretty much done now, and it has been for a long time. So you wanted your nationalities back, you wanted your independence back, you've got that. So embrace your own nationalities. Do what people like Alexander Usyk does. He's a Ukrainian, he's proud to be Ukrainian, and that's it. As opposed to coming from other countries and being British, be proud of your own nationalities. I think we're really, when you get down to it, all of it is down to comfort, money, opportunity, and that's the real reason people come here and are so determined to be British, French, Swedish, German, because of the opportunities that are available. But them opportunities are only available because of all the hardship and struggle of people from, whether it be 2 world wars, building the country, living in shitty slums, in the East End of London as one example, right back to 2,000 years ago, fighting Roman occupation. This country didn't just spring up overnight, whereas the people coming here now, over the last 80 years, they have literally just sprung up overnight. Anyway, that's it.